Hello, and welcome to my spoken word channel. My name is Stephen Lackey, but like any other label, that name is simply a collection of letters that make sounds to convey meaning, a meaning which may have varying connotations for those who voice and or hear it. The spoken word is much the same, its effect ranging from dissonance to resonance, apathy to revulsion, sometimes even to the same person over time. I'll be reading some of my own work today, a piece originally conceived as spoken word, and I will be acting it out, conveying the narrator's emotions in this fictional scenario. If you find it appealing, heartening, or evocative, or even not worth remembering, please consider the aforementioned variability of response. Words, much the same as attitudes, friendships, and even the air we breathe, may teach us, transform us, or pass uninspiringly in this moment. But the next is yet to be defined. Herein are my copyrighted works, all rights reserved, but please forget the name and remember the message. Also, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Today's piece is called The Phone is Dead. You were always there for me. I knew it. There wasn't even a question. Sometimes I would call you and you were too busy to answer. You would let it go to voicemail, but it wouldn't be long before I got a call or a text, or you would just show up. There were times when it would be several days, but I wouldn't worry. There were times when it would be several minutes, and I would fucking freak out. That really depended on me, if I'm being completely honest. There were times when I just wanted to say hi, and there were times when I really wasn't okay. It's what I would say during those rough times, but it's not like I was really worried that something happened to you. Nothing ever happened to you except for that one time. I always knew you'd be there. You promised once, more than once as I recall. I didn't need you to, although it was nice to hear. People resent promises sometimes because they forget to blame circumstance instead of their loved ones when things don't go according to plan. When a store is closed because of a water main break, you don't blame the manager. She didn't break it. It just happened. Things were okay until they weren't, and now you have to wait or get milk somewhere else. I don't like to admit that I resent promises. I know they signify intent and not a guarantee, but there's that part of me that says, fuck, why'd you have to promise? Now what if it doesn't happen? All you had to say was probably, but now it's out there just waiting to maybe not happen. I know it's just a quirk of language that I'm arguing in my head, but you can't say that I've never won an argument in my head. I've won and lost and tied so many times I could probably be a case study for a psychiatrist. But that's what I wanted to say, sort of. I've been arguing with myself a lot more lately. There's this one I keep coming back to. When I found out you died, I wasn't sure what to do or say or even to believe it. I had left you a message after it didn't ring at all. That was really unusual. You loved your new phone, the giant pile of new apps, the faster processor, and most of all because, seriously, you told me each of the no less than 11 times, as if you'd never told me before, the amazing battery life. But my call went straight to voicemail. I thought about texting you, but it wasn't one of those urgent times, my little emergencies, you'd quip. I never minded the diminution, as you were most often correct. A couple of weeks went by, and I thought about what you must be up to. Maybe your phone got stolen or it fell in the lake. Waterproof, yes, but in the murk, there was really no chance of finding it. Then I heard it from a friend. I just stood there saying, "What?" over and over as if I didn't understand her, like there was a youth orchestra practicing in my right ear while words floated into my left ear that sounded like English, but in that order they just didn't make sense. I looked at my phone when my head sort of straightened out, but I still didn't get it. I wanted to check my messages because you'd have told me if you died. You'd have told me not to worry about you. You'd have said, loving to wax metaphorical, you were on a long trip and you weren't coming back. You'd packed well, you always were a planner, so you wouldn't be back for any non-existent forgotten things, but you wanted to say goodbye. You'd have left a message. That might not make sense to a randomer, but I know you'd understand. It was a big change, and we always announced big changes. Gallbladder surgery, graduations, getting a new address, and plenty of things that didn't start with G, like getting over it. Technically, that starts with a G, but it's just a phrase. So it could be morphed to moving on or coping or I think I just died too, but I don't know what it feels like. You've been through it, so I know you're the one person whose honesty won't be slathered in bullshit euphemisms or saccharine ameliorates. Is that what just happened? Did I just die too? Perhaps it's a stretch to say that my head's straightened out at all, because here's the argument that's been using up the bulk of my processors lately. You're dead. I could believe it. I could take everyone's word for it, but I didn't see your body. I wasn't at the funeral. You would have been cremated, so I can't visit a grave if there even is one. Or the phone is dead. You haven't texted or called back or come by to swap updates because you didn't get my message yet. You'll answer when you do, not long after, but I've got to wait. Sometimes the wait is okay, and sometimes I fucking freak out, but I still have to wait. The problem is I still feel you just the same as before. Every single day, I have to convince myself not to call you. That's a fight you'd laugh at if you saw. I scream at myself. I scream at my blank phone. I scream at you like you're right there, but it always comes down to this. Can't you just charge your phone? I know you'd call if you could, and there are a bunch of reasons, one just as likely as the next, why you're not, but if you would just charge it, plug it in. 1% is all you'd need to say hi or goodbye or for me to ask why you had to die. 1%. I know it's got less than that, or you would call or text, and maybe your car is in the shop so you can't swing by for an update. I'll just wait. Because that's what life is sometimes, just waiting for milk because you like that store, just waiting for a tow because your car broke down, just waiting for a free outlet or a new charger so you can get to 1% because you would call if you could, but the phone is dead. As mentioned above, this piece was originally conceived as spoken word, picturing myself as the narrator addressing the nothingness before me as if the subject might somehow hear. I've never lost anyone like the narrator has, an unreturned phone call or text attributable to the receiver's death, but I share the anxieties, the fear of abandonment, the pressing need to share whatever the hell it is that's in my head because I just need someone to hear, and that someone isn't there. It's hard to imagine that in later years I'll have to see those dear to me winter on their vines, be snatched away in fierce winds or fade into dementious fog. But it's happened to my parents' friends and countless others. I wonder when I'll go. Sooner, later, and with whom holding hope that they misheard the news or wondering when they'll hear back from me, if at all. Thank you for joining me today. I hope it has been some mix of enlightening, entertaining, and thought-provoking, and if not, well, perhaps another time. You could have spent it any number of ways, but I sincerely appreciate that you've chosen to spend this time listening to phrases I have turned. I'd like to hear your thoughts as well. Drop a comment below regarding what your own or someone else's creative writing and or spoken word has meant to you. Also, subscribe to my channel if you'd like. I'm not sure how often I'll be posting, but if you click the notification bell, you'll be among the first to know when I do. Please also consider this. I want you to know that even though this is for everyone, and anyone could be listening, I'm speaking directly to you. And if these words have meaning for you, they are yours now. May they be your reminder that even as you feel alone, we share the whole earth. That even as you tire, we share untapped energies. That even as you feel unheard, your will grants agency. Start today embodying the strength. Find a voice. Be heard.